Mirna Vartanian, how in the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being willing to chat with me. How's life after Oradell?
Oh, well, I'm still in Ordo, but not at the branch.
Well, that's what I meant, yeah. How's life after the Oradell branch, I should say?
It's good. I mean, I guess. I mean, I miss certain things about the branch, but not other things.
I hear you.
It's a depressing place to be.
Listen, that's actually part of the reason why I'm calling you.
Okay.
Yeah, let me actually tell you, we'll get straight into it because you mentioned you only had a few minutes, and plus I want to respect your time. And by the way, please consider me a friend. So save my number. If you ever want to call, just say, hey.
Well, obviously I had it because your name came up, because I usually don't answer my phone because you know what, all these stupid robocalls.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously you had it saved.
You're right, yeah. I can't tell you how many auto freaking warranty calls I get. But
I was just yelling about it because we still have a house phone and I don't know for what. It's like nonstop.
Yeah.
It's annoying as you know what.
I hear you. So what I wanted to touch base with you on is this. I'm trying, so, you know that Oradell is a broken branch in many different ways. So I'm trying to do a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to ask you for an honest assessment of me and your experience with me. What were some things that you liked? What were some things that you didn't like as a partner, a branch partner? Then, after that, I'm going to ask you for your experience in Oradell. Like, what was your experience in Oradell? What was your experience with the culture, the environment, any sales pressure you might have felt or not felt? Just overall, what was your experience? And the reason why I'm doing this is multiple reasons. One, I'm always trying to improve myself. And with Matt, I think Matt was a banker when you were there. Was he? Yeah. Okay. So Matt left. He's now at Fidelity or E-Trade. Yeah.
No, Fidelity.
Fidelity. So I don't know if you're still in contact with him, but I had a beer with him. And when I took him out for the beer and dinner, it was my way to say thank you for, him and I working together for years, but also because I wanted to take the opportunity to pick his brain and see, hey, now that you're out of the system and it's a no-hold-bars arena, you could tell me, Mike, you're a dick. You could be like, Mike, you're a great guy. Or, Mike, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like, and here's how I felt about the branch. So it gives me the opportunity for me to grow as an individual, as a financial advisor. And also it gives me the opportunity to kind of see what's going on at the branch. Why is it still not working? And what is it that needs to be addressed to fix that? So that's kind of like my objective here. But
all right, that's fair. I mean, I think that's smart. My gripe with the branch, my personal, again, and I spoke to Saeed about this, and Matt, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I think I would have still been there. I did not like there was no camaraderie between the bankers, and the fact that when I was there was me, Matt, Nora, whatever the fuck her name was, and Silva, and I hated that. And there was so much we didn't need 4 bankers. It's not a huge branch. So, and then there was that. I mean, I honestly didn't care. You know what I mean? I didn't care, and there was so much animosity between Nora and Silva, and I hated that.
Yes.
And it just bothered me a lot. Instead of working together, they were pitting people against each other. And that was horrible. Had it would have been a little different. It's just Silva and Dylan, isn't it?
Yeah, and Zach, he joined about 2 months ago, I think.
Right, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
And I think he can probably do great because he's got a decent personality. I don't know how he does. I mean, I think he said he has his licenses or whatever. I didn't really speak too much about him. But Oradell's a tough branch because you have a lot of old people. I mean, you think they do better now because Bank of America hasn't been open in a year. I don't know how that's affecting the branch.
I didn't know that, really. Bank of America hasn't been opened in a year?
It's been closed since the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, you would think that, someone, what you should do? You should join, one of those, Facebook pages or whatever, Oradell Residents or something, because you'll know what's going on around town too.
Interesting. Thank you. That's a good idea. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much for that. But okay,
Yeah,
so
because
yeah.
I didn't know either. I don't even have it. I have nothing with Bank of America. But there are people who are like, okay, we have safe deposit boxes, we can't even access them. Like, you know, what the hell's going on?
Right.
So, but I don't know. So there's a ton of business sitting out there. The way I look at it, because some people, especially old people, like to go to this damn branch.
Right. So
I don't know.
you make some very interesting statements. And the reason why they're interesting to me is because these are actually statements that I have made consistently. And, you know, just to kind of be transparent, I have said to Michael Hay and Marianne, and I feel like it falls on deaf ears, the consistent problem that occurs at Oradell is a negative culture of what I call backbiting and blame gaming. This is literally the verbiage that I use. And I've said to them, it's been a history of this. And it's a history that existed before you or I
know.
even arrived.
Yes.
You know?
And that's exactly what Saeed said. He's like, so long as Salman is here, and he used to joke around. And I'm sure, I don't know if other people caught on to it, he used to call it the Bank of Silvana. Because she controls, basically.
Yes.
She knows everybody. And so it's really tough for anybody else.
Yeah, and
it's really, really tough.
And you know, and what Michael Hay and Marianne don't realize too is that Silvana, or the Bank of Silvana, as you call it, also creates
That's
this.
That's Saeed's word. I can't take credit for that.
But it's funny as hell. I love it. I might actually call Saeed just to touch base. You know what? Because although he's still in the system, I might still ask him for his feedback, because I'm at a wit's end. To be frank with you, between you and I, and please don't tell anyone this, especially in the branch.
Oh, I don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I honestly do not talk to anybody.
Yeah, I believe you, but I'm literally like borderline. I'm not quitting, but I am trying to see if I could be exited from the branch in some capacity, because I just can't anymore. It's exactly what you said.
If you get that, and just like I told Saeed when my dad passed, I spoke to him just to see what's going on, whatever, and that's when Matt told me he left, and I actually texted him. I said, I am so happy for you. I said, because this place is a dead end, and he's too smart to be in that branch.
Right, Saeed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you probably were doing better in Paramus.
Hell
I would have
yes.
doubted. I'm sure you are, actually, because there's a lot of money there too, and there's a lot of younger crowd of people. There's a lot more businesses. I don't know.
And you know what I find impressive is that you actually realize this, and I didn't.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't realize that someone outside of myself in the Oradell branch would know that.
Because you know why? Because when you're dealing with old people. Is that old guy still there? You know what the hell was his name? The other
John Mangini?
Guy. Yes. Is he still there, or he retired?
He is, but he's working exclusively from home now.
Okay, fine. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that same setup.
Because a branch like Oradell needs somebody like him. He's old. He's like a classic. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
He's timeless.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, like
he's
Silva.
a very nice guy.
Yeah.
But it's like he's a slow-paced guy.
Right.
And it would kill me. It would kill me as like somebody who's probably way closer to your age than to his.
Right.
But somebody like from Paramus needs somebody like you. The energy, the vibe, whatever. Old people need somebody like John Mangini.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And the crowd in Oradell cannot. I mean, I don't think that they can mesh with you too well. I mean, the ones you got, good for you, because they're tough. You have to be at their pace, and it's hard.
Right.
It's very hard.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's my personal thing. Again, you can tell whoever you want, because I have nothing to gain or lose by you telling somebody. But
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, let me ask you some more pointed questions. Actually, my son is coming, so just give me 1 second.
Sure.
I'm gonna tell him to take the stuff out of my car. Other side. Other side. Other side. How do you unlock this?
Are we getting in?
No. Both of you take that upstairs. Michael, that case thing is for your Legos. Alright? Put the stuff that's in there in the fridge, please, because it's yogurt, the milk in the fridge, and anything else that looks like it belongs in a fridge, put it there.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. You guys can go back upstairs. Thank you. Please close the door.
Bye, Bobby.
Bye. Oh, sorry. I'm on the phone. Sorry. Love you guys. So, where were we? Yeah, so just a couple of more pointed questions. Have you ever heard the history of John Mangini and why I was brought to Oradell? Was that a topic anyone ever covered with you, Saeed or Silva?
I think Saeed mentioned, what did he say something? Like you came in to basically phase this guy out or something? I have no idea. Something
Yes.
like that.
Okay. Did they say why he was being phased out?
No.
No? Okay. Did
Because I honestly, and I actually know Saeed, because he said he was never thrilled about him. He said he doesn't have presence in the branch, and that was the most important thing. Because again, people like to come to the damn branch.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that's why he was so glad when he was able to get Kelly in the branch, because people walk into this branch and actually want to see a face. He's like, I want, like, you know, he wanted obviously you to develop and like Kelly, and he before I started, there was only a mortgage banker that came, I think, twice a week or something, he said. And then Kelly became permanent, and that was like his desire to have presence.
Right.
And I think that was his goal. I don't know what the goal ended up to be, but that's a whole other story, I guess.
All right. So just very quickly, you know, to answer the question as to John Mangini and the history of it. So basically, I was an advisor in Forest Avenue and Bergen Mall, and I was brought to Oradell as a third branch, and the reason why was to, in essence, replace John, not to fire him, but to replace him, in the sense that at the time Silva was complaining about him being slow with technology, and his unwillingness to, for example, come into the branch on a Saturday. And the reason why I mentioned that is because part of the argument that I make when it comes to the Oradell branch, hold on, let me park. Oh, did I hang up? Shit. Did I hang up on you?
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry. What was the last thing I said?
With John Mangini, the branch.
Yeah, so basically, long story short, in case you didn't hear this part, I was hired to replace John because Silva was specifically complaining about him, that he was too slow with technology, that he wouldn't come in on Saturdays. And
he never came on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy lives in South Jersey, so I mean, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't blame him. But the moral of the story is that history of constant complaining and what I call backbiting and blame gaming has existed in Oradell since before even you and I came. And in my opinion, John was the first victim of that. Hence my being brought to Oradell to replace him. And if you recall, you might have been instructed that any new leads were to come to me.
Yeah, exactly. I never worked with John. I literally never. You know when I worked with John? Only with an existing client came in that had an account with him already. If they had a question or something.
Exactly.
Just to help out, that's it.
Exactly, yeah.
Other than that, nothing.
Yeah.
Zero, zip, zilch.
Yeah, so John was put in in my opinion, in an extremely difficult position where he did well, you know.
Yeah, because he had a book of business.
Yeah, he did well. I'm saying this not to pat myself on the back, but to kind of put the conversation in context as to how this has affected him. When I came into the branch, he was clearly doing more revenue than I was. But now, several years later, I'm doing more revenue than he is. Hold on a second, please.
You gonna hang up on me again?
Well, sorry. Aye, this time it was because of the quintessential cough that you probably remember from me.
Yes, I do.
Oh.
You still haven't, you still got that going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the process of medical tests and all this crap. We kind of have an idea of what it might be. It's a combination of acid reflux, bronchitis, but not the viral kind. But he said that, my doctor said that because I have a decades-long history of having these cough attacks, that now my throat is sensitive. So, so the silliest things like dry mouth or talking too much will cause me to have one of these cough attacks. So, so if I hang up on you again, it's because of that. Because it's embarrassing. And rather than put you on mute and you saying, hello, are you there? Are you okay? Did you die? You know, if I hang up on you, you might just conclude, maybe he lost the signal, he'll just call me back. So
that's actually smart.
yeah, so I find it easier for people to respond. Okay, so going back to what I was saying. So John, he, before I came to the branch, he was doing more revenue than me. And now, fast forward 4 or 5 years later, I'm exceeding him in revenue. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but rather to demonstrate this history that I believe exists in JP Morgan Chase and that I'm trying to communicate.
Yes, and if they don't see that, you don't see. I see it as a problem. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I see it as a problem. I saw it as a problem when I was there. Why should he be in that, sitting in that office when he's not there half the time? It just looks bad too.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah, and not just that, but the idea being that he was allowed to grow for a period of time. And what this firm does is when you grow, they and this is more on the advisor side, but even on the banker side, one could argue, they take away that which you have grown to give it to someone else. And John, I think, was a victim of that. But fast forward more to the branch culture and your experience as a banker. So so you made some important statements that kind of confirm some of what I thought, which is that, and I've made this argument to Michael Hay and Marianne, and I think that as a result of that, I don't know if you ever heard of it. If you did, let me know. But they tried to work Silva out of the branch during Saeed's tenure, because they recognized that it was the branch of Silvana, as you said, Saeed used to say. And from what I recall, Saeed's goal was to try to either remove Silva or get her into a position where she is actually working in a team environment. And what I've argued for some time now is that Silva, although she and I get along very well now, the reality is that she has always been, in my opinion, the origin of the primary originator of this backbiting and blame gaming culture that exists in the branch. I do think that Nora, and please tell me if you agree or disagree with me, I do think that Nora, when she came to the branch, didn't help at all with that, because yeah, she had her own issues. Namely, she was an RB or a business relationship banker that was demoted. She lost her job basically, and as a favor to Jim Eulinger, from what I was told by Saeed, she was brought to Oradell.
Yeah, something like, I was told that too.
Yeah.
So Saeed told me that, and I said, well, it's not fair to like everybody else, really, because
exactly.
It was like such a negative environment. Like, I can't even tell you like what we were going through.
Yeah. And
it was really, really bad.
So then, while Nora was there, she and I had our own issues, which is, in my opinion, I mean, my approach, Myrna. She
hated everybody. She hated everyone.
She hated everyone.
She hated everybody.
Yeah, and I'm happy to hear that, by the way. And I say that only because one of the things that I've struggled with Michael Hay and Marianne, is that they think that I am the problem and that everyone hates me. So to hear that Nora was a part of the problem. Listen, and the story with Silva, she's a nice person, but her and the branch, she's like a double-edged sword. They're never going to get rid of her. They need her. She brings in all the money. Yep. And so long as she's working and, she'll be, God forbid, on a walker, and she'll still be working. You know what I'm trying to say? But you get what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah. Because she brings in a lot of money to the bank, and they need her. Right. I feel like without her, this branch might not, and don't even say this to her ever. No, don't worry. Because then she'll toot her horn when you get war. Right. But, I mean, she works hard. She really does work hard. And Saeed always wanted her. He said, look at her. Whenever we used to have our one-on-ones, to look at her, she's constantly on the phone. I say yes, because she has a very healthy book of business. She'll call all of them until somebody actually picks up the phone because they know her and they like her and whatever else. It's a familiar face, and people like familiar faces. Interesting statement that you made there, which is that she has a big book of business. And the reason why I say that that's interesting is because it kind of explains why it may be easier for her to find opportunities, but not as easy for newer bankers like Dylan and Zach.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yeah,
go ahead.
but the right thing to do is, well, I think you made a good point. And like, if Silva, because the way they should approach it, okay, you're here now, you're not gonna be here forever. She should really take, Dylan and Zach, which I've never met really yet, and the new bankers or whoever, take them under your arms, train them, teach them. You know what I mean? Instead of like, I'm not saying she didn't try. She did try with me, but it's like she has her own way, and she has her. She does have her own way, and we all know that.
Right.
You come in for a checking account, you'll walk out with $15,000 in investments with money you didn't have. She'll find everything. You get what I'm trying to say?
Right. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's interesting.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Do you feel
but honestly, I absolutely. I think you're in a like really effed up situation because between Saeed and like I feel like Michael Hay he's a great guy. I like him. He's a very nice guy, but he doesn't see everything. He never saw everything.
Right.
And there was pressure on Saeed. There's pressure on you. There was like a lot of pressure going on at the time.
Yes.
And I felt the animosity, and it sucked.
Yes.
And I'm like, something's got to give, and nothing changed.
Amen.
So, and that's, and then when I heard Nora's gone, I thought that was a blessing because that's a part of the problem.
It was, yes.
I'm telling her, she brought depression onto the floor.
Yep.
Like, and then we was even to the point where the tellers used to come and say, like, what's wrong with her? Why doesn't she ever smile this way? What's wrong with her? I don't know. As Saeed used to even say to her, you have to smile, Nora. Like, your people are walking in. And then when I started working in, Saeed's like, oh my God, thank God. He goes, you brought like such a smile to the branch. I'm like, I'm going to be miserable by the time you know what I'm trying to say? Honestly, the best decision I made, I feel like I pass by the branch almost obviously regularly because I live in town. Every time I pass by, even if I say to the kids, the best decision I made to leave this place. It was so depressing. It was very depressing.
And that's exactly how I've been feeling lately. So let me confirm what you're saying, and I agree with you.
It smells dingy in there, by the way, too.
Say again?
I can't stand it. It smells dingy in that.
Yeah, I know.
It does.
Yeah, it smells like old wood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have a horrible sense of smell, and I can still smell that.
Okay. So
tell me if you don't mind about the sales pressure. What do you feel that you were under sales pressure when you were at Oradell as a banker? Pressure to produce appointments.
The phone calls. It was like we never got out the big list of calls, and you calling to see people, and it got annoying, and they made it clear that it got annoying. So I'm like, you either got to give me new stuff or not. So I'm like, no, I'm not. This is not right. You know what I mean? Anything new and, good leads that came always went to Silva or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? And then she always fished for them because she knew how to serve. So at the end, basically Saeed was telling me what to do to basically work around Silva because, she's going to get to it before you do.
Right.
And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. You have to, what happened to ever working together? So of course you feel pressure, but I don't know. There was too many of us, too many bankers,
Right.
And of course there was pressure.
So help me probe that last part a little bit. So when I ask Dylan and Zach now, so it
should be better for them though. It should be better for them.
Well, I think it's definitely better than the situation you were in. That's for sure, because Nora's not there as an example. Silva has changed. She's not fully changed, but she is, I would say, in comparison to the Silva you knew, she is about 85% different. And a lot of it had to do with me talking with her and saying, Silva, you gotta stop throwing me under the bus. Because, and tell me if this statement rings true or not, but one of the things that would historically happen would be, listen, I'm a man of flaws. There are things that I could have definitely done different. There are some reasons behind why I did what I did, and perhaps I'll share with you in this conversation. But there were reasons behind why I would do some of what I did. And my argument to Silva would be Silva, if there is anything that I'm doing that you're not happy with, I need us to be partners. Just like every other branch that I've been at and every other banker at other branches that I've worked with, where you come to me and you and I as partners work this out. I can't have you going to Saeed.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. There should be like, you have to work together. You have to. If you're working against each other, then you're both going to lose in this equation.
Right. And what would wind up happening is she would throw me under the bus, like, I would say almost on a quarterly basis. She would go to Saeed and complain to Saeed about something. And then Saeed would go to Marianne, and then Marianne would go to Mike. And then there'd be this history of complaints against me. Let me ask you a pointed question. So if Mike O'Hay were to say that Mike Rosero has a history of, how can I phrase this? Of not having I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this. Let me ask you individually, did you and I have a good banker-advisor relationship? Not the best, I'm not asking the best, but was it good? Was it sufficient enough? If you and I were in a positive work environment, I
think it would have been better.
Okay.
I think it would have been better.
Okay. Would you say that our partnership, again, not perfect, I don't think anyone would expect it to be perfect, but would you say that it was at least a good relationship, a good banker-advisor relationship?
I think better at the end than at the beginning, probably.
Okay.
I mean, because I don't know. I mean, that's like my, maybe I got better. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there was more time. I think time is the most important. Like, to actually, like, sit with the bankers, the one-on-ones is good.
Uh-huh.
And, like, it takes time, coaching and all that stuff. You know, it's like...
Right.
And again, it's your time, and that's money. So I get it. It's hard. So to make yourself available to the bankers, I think is very, to build the relationship and to improve it. I think that's the only way to get where you need to be, or you want to be. I should say, not you're already there.
Yeah. Do you feel that I was doing that with you, spending time with you, coaching you?
That's what I'm saying. I felt more like that than the beginning, earlier stages.
Okay. Thank you. That's helpful to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, it comes down to time. Like, it's like, make yourself more available. Like, I don't know, before hours, after hours, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But then again, don't forget, you were gone because you were doing that Harvard thing for a long time too. So that obviously affected it.
Yeah. So let me address that part too. So, in between you and I, so the whole Harvard thing. The quick story behind that, because I'm trying to be mindful of the time that you're giving me. And again, thank you for taking time to speak to me. The whole Harvard thing, do you know why I did that? I used to have 3 branches, as you know. And one of the things that I argue all the time to Mike O'Hay is that the firm has a methodology and belief that you take a successful advisor and you take away from that successful advisor to give to other advisors, so that those new advisors replicate the success that the original advisor had, and then everyone wins. And I've been arguing that is a false dynamic. So basically what happened with me was I had 3 branches. I was doing really well. I grew my business substantially, and I was then told that I had a choice. My options were to either work strictly in Oradell, where they wanted 1 full-time advisor, or to give up Oradell and to work strictly out of Bergen Mall and Forest Avenue. And it was one of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. I regret choosing Oradell. I allowed them to convince me that Oradell was a gold mine, that there's all this opportunity and all this BS that they fed me, because I was wrong. Yeah. So as a result of them taking away 2 of my 3 branches, I went from getting 3 to 5 appointments a day to getting 3 to 5 appointments a month, if I'm lucky. Actually, no, let me rephrase that. I went from getting 3 to 5 appointments a day to getting 1 to 2 appointments a month. So couple that with the fact that then at the same time, the firm changed our compensation package. And what they did was, they did a couple of things, but one of the main things that they did in the midst, by the way, of DOL. I don't know if you remember DOL, Department of Labor, and all that took business away from me. But on top of that, they also said, not only are we going to take 2 to 3 branches away from you so that now you're not able to produce what you produced before, not only are you dealing with Department of Labor where now we have to take brokerage IRAs away from you, meaning taking revenue away from you, but guess what we're also going to do? We're going to affect your net new money. If you don't produce a minimum of, I think it was 2 million in 4-quarter trailing net new money, whatever the hell, they would reduce my payout to a lower payout grid. So could you imagine being in that position where you're like, hold on a second, I worked my ass off to build this business and to make all of us profitable, and your response to that is to take away branches, to cut my compensation, and then at the same time to say that if you're not able to meet the same compensation that you were meeting before, that we're gonna have to, lower your revenue. So the result of that, Myrna, was my then saying, I'm gonna have to find other ways to make money. And that's when I started my commercial cleaning business. That actually was coincidental. I was helping a friend, and that grew into me starting a commercial cleaning business. And then that led to Harvard. Well, I'm like, well, shit, I got all this extra time on my hands, and I was jaded. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to school, and I'm gonna pursue what I really love, which is theology. And I decided to apply for Harvard, and that's how Harvard became a part of it. But what I'm trying to
good for you, seriously good for you, because sometimes you have to go with what you your gut, and I think you did the right thing.
And to be clear, the reason why I did what I did was because the firm pretty much cut my legs off. So I was like,
that's tough. And you know what? And the fact that you stayed and you survived, good for you. Well, honestly, I
don't know how much longer I want to stay.
I don't blame you. Talk to Matt. Maybe get you to Fidelity.
No. If I leave, I'm done.
I'm just kidding.
No, sweetheart. Let me tell you, thank God, I'm in a position now where, if I'm actually considering retiring in July 1st.
Good for you.
Yeah, the commercial cleaning business worked out really well. God is good. I'm not any smart genius or anything. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and God blessed me. And and listen, I'm like, I don't want anything, I don't want to do this anymore, at least not in Oradell, because of that toxic branch. But let me again, if I have another second, can you tell me about Saeed? What was Saeed?
I don't know. Saeed, I think, was lost in the mix because he was getting pressure from the top as well. And I think that's why it was the best thing for him to happen to him was not being in this branch anymore. He said, you know what he said? the same kind of pressure you're under. He's like, I went from branch to branch. This was like his 3rd or 4th, whatever it was. He's like, I turned because they put me in the shit branches, basically. This is what he told me. Okay, failing branches. You know how they're all scored or whatever they are?
Right.
He's like, I make them successful, and then they just move me. And he was getting annoyed too. And he didn't say that to me, but you could read in between the lines.
Yeah.
And then he was, obviously getting the pressure because of John Mangini, and then, whatever with you or whatever. He was I think he was being pushed in every direction too.
Right.
And I don't know what the heck he heard from his bosses or whatever, but he didn't tell me that, but I can sense it. And I was like, this place, like you said, it was very toxic. It's not good. And I'm not, seriously, here I am. I'm 46 years old now. I don't need this shit in my life. I don't. I'm like, why am I wasting my time here?
Exactly. I agree.
Peace out. And I really thought when I first started that I'm like, okay, this is great. It's so close to home. I can be here forever, and I can whatever, be the next Silva. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
And no, I don't like wasting my time.
I hear you.
Time is precious.
Yes,
so
life is short.
Life is short, exactly. That's why I'm so happy for you. Yeah. I genuinely am very happy for you.
Hon. And you did the right thing, because again, why submit yourself to that negative culture? You did the right thing. Absolutely. Saeed,
I haven't spoken to him. I spoke to him once, and that was it. I'm like, okay, I guess he doesn't want to talk to me, which is fine. I know he's busier now in whatever capacity he's in.
Yeah.
I don't even know what his title is. anymore.
I think he's a relationship banker now on the business side. But what I wanted to ask you was, I never fully knew whether or not Saeed was on my side or against me.
Yeah, I don't know. He was very, like, he was like one of those poker face people.
Right.
I never, like, I knew he had his gripes with, like, John, whatever, because he was never there. And I'm like, okay. I was like, it's not like he's got, like, a million people coming for him. And I don't know. He was always, like, I don't know. He always had something on his bothering him on his shoulders.
Right.
And then, like, with I don't know. He was very, like, poker face. Like, does it really matter at the end? Whatever. He was not very happy where he was either. I could tell you that much.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is, because again, part of what I'm dealing with in my personal scenario is, Mike O'Hay is under the impression that I am the problem. And again, to the brief history in time, Bergen Mall, best team I ever had. We used to go out as a team, party, pop champagne bottles together.
So why don't you tell him that?
I do.
No, tell him that.
I do, but you know what he says to me? He says to me, "Yeah, but
that?
Harold Kemper doesn't like you, and right before you left the Bergen Mall branch, they didn't like you." I was like, "Yeah, because it was a different branch manager, and I was leaving the Bergen Mall branch. I was physically no longer there." And what always happens is, it then turns into this culture of the branch manager and or the banker blaming the advisor for something that maybe he did wrong, or maybe not.
Well, it's easy to throw the buck. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
The what?
Like, they just throw the blame on something.
Exactly.
It's like, you just can't, that's not right.
And O'Hay doesn't seem to understand that. So Bergen Mall team, excellent team. Forest Avenue, Ken Monahan to this day is the best banker I have ever worked with in my entire life. And what I find interesting is that he and I are the complete opposites. Speaking candidly with you, because you're no longer JP Morgan Chase, so I can speak candidly. He's an Irish guy from God knows what neighborhood where I don't even think he used to like really know Spanish people when he was younger. Like, him and I would have share stories. Not that he didn't grow up with Spanish people, but you know how back in the 50s and 60s you kind of viewed Spanish people a certain way? He was one of those.
Right.
And here I am, a Spanish guy from the Bronx. He and I are complete opposites. But every time I think of this guy, a tear almost comes in my eye because
but the fact that you work together, that means there was some sort of a working relationship. That's all you need. So long as you can walk into a place and say, I can work with this guy. Who cares if you're like from two other sides, two different planets?
Yes.
Who cares?
If there's no toxic environment, then that's what happens. You're absolutely right.
It's the environment.
Yeah.
You nicked it in the butt. It's a toxic environment that messes it up for everybody.
Did you ever meet Loveleen Engineer? Loveleen?
I met her when she was here, I think for like a week or something. She was training something. I don't know what the heck she was doing. I met her, for like, she was very nice.
Okay.
But I never really worked with her.
Was she a banker at Oradell when you were there?
No, she was not. She was already a branch manager, I think, and she came for a week to cover for Saeed or something or other, something like that.
Oh, really? I didn't know she was... What? She with Chase still?
No. This was like when I was there. So, but I never, like, she was there for like a couple of days or something just to cover or something like that.
I think we're talking about someone else. Is this
I have no idea.
Is this a Hindu girl with blonde hair? A young Hindu? We're talking about different people then.
Okay.
Yeah, because Loveleen left Chase. She was the previous person before Nora.
Okay. I've heard of that one. No. No, I'm talking about completely somebody else.
Yeah. What did you hear about Loveleen then?
Then I think I'm thinking about somebody else. There was another woman. I think she came from Bergen, and she covered. She was just a branch manager or something. I think she just covered for Saeed for a couple of days when he was on vacation.
Not that person. I'm talking about the banker that was before Nora.
Oh, I just heard that she was there. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I knew nothing about her. Why? She was good, bad?
Well, long story short, she was on my Forest Avenue team. And she and I worked extremely well together at Forest Avenue. Extremely well. So well that they asked her to come to the Oradell branch as a banker.
Oh, my God.
And I, unfortunately, advised Loveleen to join me in Oradell. And I regret that because... She was like, Mike, I don't want to go. I've already heard that Oradell is a negative branch. Silva's there, and everyone has heard of Silva, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to go. I'm like, I get it. I understand, but you and I will be there together. We'll work it out. Well, Loveleen got there, and she fell, in my opinion, victim to that negative culture that you and I are talking about. And her life turned into hell. She was the equivalent of she became a Nora. Very
Oh my God.
Yeah, very disenfranchised, very angry. I think that she was the first. So first of all, she was the first Chase Private Client banker to be in that branch other than Silva. So you can imagine.
Why would they do that though? Why would they do that? Have like two like powerhouse private bankers in the same branch? I don't know.
Because
It's not like there's that much business.
yeah, because of that methodology that I'm telling you. Take from those who are producing and give to others. And they continue to think that it's going to work. And no matter how many times I tell Michael, hey, it's not, he doesn't push it up the
No.
ladder.
It's not gonna work. Let me tell you, it's not gonna work.
So what wound up happening was Silva, at this time she had the ability to, because this was before Nora, before Saeed. This is actually, Saeed came in at the tail end of Loveleen's relationship. Silva was able to manhandle Loveleen. Loveleen
I'm
suffered.
sure.
And then Loveleen
sure.
turned into, she turned very vicious. She turned against me. She got angry with me because she was like, I told you this was going to happen by me coming to Oradell, blah, 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 blah. And then she started accusing me of working with Silva to get rid of her. And
Oh my God.
yeah.
That's terrible. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
yeah,
I'm so sorry.
and that was never the case. Like, I was not partnering with Silva to get rid of Loveleen. You know, if anything, I found myself in a tough position because, you know,
Yeah, I know what you're saying now. That's horrible.
right. So Loveleen then became so this is where the history and time comes in. So Bergen Mall, wonderful relationship. Forest Avenue, wonderful relationship. Yes, there'd be some people here and there that you know, brush the wrong way, because it's just a part of life. You're gonna step on some toes, especially when you're someone like me who's very vocal, you know, is an asshole. I admit that. I'm very direct. It's not that I'm an asshole. I'm just very direct. I'm very to the point, and it rubs people the wrong way sometimes. I've grown a lot from that. I'm a lot nicer than I was, you know, 2-3 years ago. But you know, admittedly, yeah, there were gonna be people who I was gonna come across who, you know, who for without malintent, I accidentally, you know, stepped on their toes. Then there are gonna be other people who, there's this relationship business banker, I forgot her name, but she had cancer at one point in time. I can't remember her name. She hated me strictly because the financial advisor that I replaced, Kirk Ferre, was like her best friend. So naturally, if I'm replacing Kirk and I'm the devil to Kirk,
Yeah, but that's childish.
it
I'm
is,
really
it is.
sorry.
But that's the politics that we deal with at JP Morgan
Yeah.
Chase. But,
Yeah, I see that. There's definitely a lot of politics.
But moving on, so everything, Bergen Mall, Forest Avenue, great. Midland Avenue, generally no problems, but I'm not a full-time advisor there, never was. But then comes Oradell. And with Oradell, you know, first there was Abilio. He was the first branch manager. And Abilio and I got along really well. He and I even went out to dinner a couple of times. He introduced me to Portuguese cuisine. After Abilio left, within a year, then came a branch manager called Valen Tahirukai, or Val, we'll call him. You know, good guy, decent guy, but he was kind of on the weaker end. And this is when Silva was able to even greater manipulate the branch manager.
Yeah, I was gonna say, manhandle that one.
Yeah, Abilio, you know, Silva tried to manhandle Abilio, but Abilio was kind of more of a stronger person. But eventually he was like, F that, I'm leaving this branch, and he left to a different branch. From there, Valen Tahirukai, and Silva's go-to is to always complain about people. I'll give you a quintessential example. So today I'm working from home. Silva sent me a text message about 3 hours ago. I haven't even looked at the text message because I'm busy, and it's not a time-sensitive text message. I can get to it later on in the evening. And Silva, I think, has finally matured to a point where she understands that if I don't respond to your text message within 30 seconds, it's okay. I can respond to it within 24 hours or less if it's not an important text message. But
Exactly. As long as you looked at it and you don't feel that it's like...
right.
Yeah.
But Silva, we're talking going as far back as Abilio and Val, she would complain about these things. He's not responding to my text messages. And she would complain and complain and complain. And what would happen is the branch managers initially would try to like manage this between Silva and I. But then, Abilio left. He and I got along really well. And he acknowledged, like, yeah, she's a truck heading down a highway at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Val was on the weaker side of things. So he, I think, would wind up going to whoever the market director was at the time, because he didn't know what to do. Then from there, Saeed came in. Now, since Val would go to the market director, in my opinion, I think that's when this history started about Mike Rosero being a bad guy, right? But in reality, it was just Silva, right? Silva complaining about everyone, about John Mangini, about other bankers, now about me. So from there, Saeed came in. And Saeed's approach was, you said it yourself, to break up the branch of Silva, because that was the only way to try to move this branch forward. And that included trying to get Silva to not, I guess, throw me under the bus as well. But then things got clouded. Saeed, for whatever reason, instead of, and what you said about him being like a poker face, spoke to me. I would say more of a two-face. I don't know if you meant poker face or a two-face, but
I don't know, maybe the way I don't know what he spoke to, but I feel like he was trying to be Switzerland at one point. He's like, yeah, we gotta work, this is what we have, these are the cards we're dealt, we have to work with it. He tried, he really did try.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good phrase. He tried to be Switzerland, and in being Switzerland, instead of nipping Silva in the butt when it came to these complaints, he started to filter these to Marianne. Now, in Saeed's defense, some of them were justified, because there was a period in time in which I was disenfranchised with the firm, I was frustrated, and my gasoline tank was empty because of everything I said to you, them taking away branches from me.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The Department of Labor.
Yeah, that was a lot. I remember those times. That was really, really rough.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. So I can't necessarily blame Saeed for being frustrated with me in that capacity. But you see this history now, right? So Saeed then, perhaps shared feedback about me. After Saeed, now we have this new branch manager called Jason Ojeda.
He's the branch manager, and I don't even know who the branch manager is right now.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, and I won't get into too much detail about him, but
yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the moral of the story is that things continue in Oradell as is. Silva and I get along really well, but the branch is not growing. And instead of Mike O'Hay saying that the reason why the branch is not growing is because there's this negative, toxic work environment of backbiting and blame gaming, and because Silva, it's the branch of Silva. She controls this branch. She has access to everyone. Dylan and Zach and Matt and Myrna and even Nora and even Loveline. All these bankers are not going to be able to produce the way Silva did because she controls the book.
Yeah, and I said that to Saeed, and he agreed. I said, so long as she's here, and he said the same thing, that it's going to be like this. So, I mean, it's acknowledged, but again, it's a double-edged sword. They need her, too.
Yeah,
she brings in a shitload of business. Okay, let's not kid ourselves. Without her, they'd be in, because the branch would not exist probably, because she's, really, held everybody by the neck, and she, gets them, and then some, and then some, and then some.
Right. Awesome.
They all walk in looking for her. I used to so I was greet everybody. 9 out of 10 people who used to walk in to see a banker were coming for Silva. Okay?
Yep.
I'm telling you right now.
Yep.
And you know what? And as a person who's sitting at a desk, if I'm going to be sitting there, and freaking, fixing problems or, doing the bullshit work, that's not what I'm here for.
Right.
I'm learning nothing. It's yeah, you do the bullshit and try to get business. So it's pissed off. They're not gonna care to see the financial advisor. You get what I'm trying to say?
Right. It's interesting you say that. I feel that Zach and Dylan feel that way now, which is
yes.
Yeah.
They will feel like that for a long while.
Yeah. What is the point of me being here if I'm just servicing accounts? And now I think it's harder for them because they have to make a minimum of $30 a day. And one of the things that I argue, and I don't know if you've heard from them any feedback, because I don't know if they even talk to you like that. I don't know what your relationship is with them or not, but
I don't even know the exact one, but Dylan I spoke to, I said, it's a tough branch to work at. I said, I really wish you the best of luck. He's like, yeah, you know. And then he did say a little smirk about Silva. I said, no, I know. But I mean, I don't know him that well. I've only spoken to him probably like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But, you know, we don't need, it's like, you don't have to speak about certain things, you know?
You just know.
You just know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
So it seems to me like you would agree with me that Dylan is probably under the similar circumstances that you are, and that he seems to have acknowledged it, which is that this is the branch of Silva. Everyone comes to meet with Silva, and unfortunately for Dylan and Zach, they're in more of a servicing situation that doesn't allow them.
Honestly, you know how when there was that stupid branch in New Milford, they didn't have what they had, like the personal banker thing. They didn't have a what was that title called? You were not a banker.
Personal banker, PB.
Like the PB they had, right?
Yeah.
That's all they need here in Oradell, because you know, so long as Silva's there, you really don't need anybody else.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah,
because it's added pressure. It's added pressure on the bankers because if they're not producing, and then, you know, towards the end, the side's like, you know, we have to meet these numbers or whatever. Like, yeah, hell, we're gonna meet these numbers when, you know, there's Nora and there's Matt. And I told Matt when I was leaving, honestly, I said, Matt, you're wasting your time here. I said, you're a young guy. I said, what the hell are you going to do here? I said, at least I'm deep in my career. I'm looking for my last, like, 10 years of working, and you're here just starting. I said, why are you wasting your time?
Right.
And then he's like, the only reason I'm sticking around, I mean, I spoke to him, obviously, candidly, and because we had that relationship. He's like, I just want to, you know, get all my, you know, because because I'm hoping they'll sponsor me for my 7, and he's like, I get all my licenses. And then, you know, basically to be an advisor.
Yep.
I said, yeah, they're not going to do that. I said, you know why? Because then they know you're going to leave.
Yep.
So obviously then he got, you know, and I said, just keep looking. And then when the Fidelity thing happened, I said, they will sponsor you to whatever you want to do. I said, because they want people like you. You're young, you're still driven, and they need people like you. Mm-hmm. So I was happy for him. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, me too. I was, and you know, some of the conversations that Matt and I had, and I think you know that I've tried to be a friend and partner to bankers, including you. I tried to be someone that bankers can come to and speak candidly and say, like in the case of Matt as the quintessential example, Mike, I want to be an advisor. How do I get there? How do I do this? I knew the whole time that Matt was interviewing. I knew that he was going to Fidelity. Like I knew every little detail, because that was the type of relationship that I tried to establish with every single banker I've ever worked with. So to that end, I agree with you. And I would say to Matt, like, Matt, at first I was trying to get him to become an advisor here. I put him in front of O'Hay. I'm the one who set that up. And O'Hay was like, yeah, well, you know, the problem that happened with Matt was that O'Hay wanted Matt to do Midland Avenue PVCs before he would give him even consideration for being an advisor. Yeah, right? And what's funny is I would have conversations with O'Hay, and I'd be like, Matt's feeling frustrated. He wants to be an advisor, and he's not giving any guidance. And Mike O'Hay's response to me was, well, I can't consider him for the financial advisor position if he's not even doing 2,000 or 2,500 PVCs or whatever number.
Look where he's located.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God.
It's stupid.
He's obviously blind. I mean, he lost a good person. I hate to say it, but you know what? At the end of the day, Fidelity is a much better place to be than Chiefs right now.
I agree. I'm happy for Matt. Anyway, hon, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe the 4 of us can go out to dinner sometime. My treat. In fact, I'm going to ask you, can you speak to your husband, pick an evening that works out for the 2 of you. I'd like to take the 2 of you out to dinner, and my wife will hopefully join us. She's in college, but if she doesn't join us, it's okay. As long as, you know, I'm there, I'm happy. But I would like to take the both of you out to dinner to say thank you for having been, you know, a banker on my team, partnering with me, this feedback that you're giving me now, because this helps me tremendously, and again, because I consider you a friend too. So please, no obligation, by the way. If I don't hear from you, it's totally fine. But, you know, if you're open to it, chat with your husband, you know, pick a night in the next couple of weeks that works for the two of you. And it'd be my honor to take the two of you out to the Capitol Grill for a nice steak dinner. Or if you prefer seafood, we could do, you know, I'll find a nice seafood place.
I don't eat meat, but sure. We actually just went there a few weeks ago because whatever his boss gave us or whatever. I'm like, this is nice. I was like, I can do this once in a while.
then my treat. It would be my honor to take you and your husband out.
He's really busy with work right now, but I will tell him right now because they're going through an audit or whatever.
Right.
But,
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it could be in a month or two from now. Whatever's good for you. It'd be my honor to take you guys out.
All right.
Okay,
all right,
huh?
Michael. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything.
All right.
Be well.
All right. You're welcome. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. It's probably under the similar circumstances that you are, and that he seems to have acknowledged it, which is that this is the branch of Silva. Everyone comes to meet with Silva, and unfortunately for Dylan and Zach, they're in more of a servicing situation that doesn't allow them.
Honestly, you know how when there was that stupid branch in New Milford, they didn't have what they had, like the personal banker thing. They didn't have a what was that title called? You were not a banker.
Personal banker, PB.
Like the PB they had, right?
Yeah. That's
all they need here in Oradell, because, you know, so long as Silva's there, you really don't need anybody else.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah,
because it's added pressure. It's added pressure on the bankers because if they're not producing, and then, you know, towards the end, besides, like, you know, we have to meet these numbers or whatever. Like, yeah, hell, we're gonna meet these numbers when, you know, there's Nora and there's Matt. And I told Matt when I was living, honestly, I said, Matt, you're wasting your time here. I said, you're a young guy. I said, what the hell are you going to do here? I said, at least I'm deep in my career. I'm looking for my last, 10 years of working, and you're here just starting. I said, why are you wasting your time?
Right.
And then he's like, the only reason I'm sticking around, I mean, I spoke to him, obviously, candidly, and because we had that relationship. He's like, I just want to, you know, get all my, you know, because because I'm hoping they'll sponsor me for my 7. And he's like, I get all my licenses. And then, you know, basically to be an advisor.
Yep.
I said, yeah, they're not going to do that. I said, you know why? Because then they know you're going to leave.
Yep.
So obviously then he got, you know, and I said, just keep looking. And then when the Fidelity thing happened, I said, they will sponsor you to whatever you want to do. I said, because they want people like you. You're young, you're still driven, and they need people like you. Mm-hmm. So I was happy for him. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, me too. I was, and you know, some of the conversations that Matt and I had, and I think, you know, that I've tried to be a friend and partner to bankers, including you. I tried to be someone that bankers can come to and speak candidly and say, like in the case of Matt as the quintessential example, Mike, I want to be an advisor. How do I get there? How do I do this? I knew the whole time that Matt was interviewing. I knew that he was going to Fidelity. Like I knew every little detail, because that was the type of relationship that I tried to establish with every single banker I've ever worked with. So to that end, I agree with you. And I would say to Matt, like, Matt, at first I was trying to get him to become an advisor here. I put him in front of O'Hay. I'm the one who set that up. And O'Hay was like, yeah, well, you know, the problem that happened with Matt was that O'Hay wanted Matt to do Midland Avenue PVCs before he would give him even consideration for being an advisor. Yeah, right? And what's funny is I would have conversations with O'Hay, and I'd be like, Matt's feeling frustrated. He wants to be an advisor, and he's not giving any guidance. And Mike O'Hay's response to me was, well, I can't consider him for the financial advisor position if he's not even doing 2,000 or 2,500 PVCs or whatever number.
Look where he's located.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God.
It's stupid.
He's obviously blind. I mean, he lost a good person. I hate to say it, but you know what? At the end of the day, Fidelity is a much better place to be than Juice right now.
I agree. I'm happy for Matt. Anyway, hon, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Good luck to you.